We just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old every single day without exception. Please watch the first two episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Only had 2 hours sleep. Woke up at 4 o'clock. Couldn't go back to sleep. So it's mad. My sleep pattern is absolutely. I've got no sleep pattern. I don't sleep. Poor little old me. There's the boss. Early morning, Frank and Co. Liked roommates with Peter Falk this week. Highland Park and Crazy Stupid Love. Okay, entertainment too. Best wishes to our team Sunday. Show them we are champions. Yes. Go along with that, couple. Oh, Myra. Oh, yeah. Hi, Frank and friends. Hiya, Myra. I've got a couple of sci-fi, because I know you like sci-fi, to watch. They're quite good. Get them on YouTube as well. Really good. And also another film which I really need you to watch, Myra. And that's State Secret or Secret State or something like that. And it's not half like today. It's about British politics and the politicians. Gabriel Byrne's in it. He's the lead actor. Brilliant he is. Great actor as well. Try and get hold of it. I hope you do get hold of it, because it's just what we know, you and I. And you'll go, wow. And it was made in 2012, this. Really good. Edward. Hello, Myra. Hello, boss. Hello, Frank and chat. Hello, Edward. Oh, that's lovely. Edward, the man of legends, is back. Do you know what? Last night, morning, Frank, and all the podcasters today, all on the podcast today. Frank, hope you're okay this morning. I'm really sorry for the crap you had to deal with last night. We are really, thank you. Really appreciate. Well, we're all here for everyone, aren't we? You know, for every one of us. If we're going through a hard time, like the girls, you know, they're going through a hard time. Well, Bella, she's going through a hard time, unfortunately. She's just got out of hospital. The Scottish Bears just come out of hospital. But we're all in it. So, I don't know whether it's an age thing or just the way we are, unfortunately. But nevertheless, thank you, Simon. Salute. And Edward, hello, Myra. Hope you have a good weekend. She will, undoubtedly. And Daryl, Frankie, what happened last night? I'll tell you in a moment. I just want to get through these, Daryl. Okay. Shocking, really. Myra. Edward, yes. She's okay, that is. Hi all. As you join, hit the likes, says the boss. Thank you. Thank you. And good night, John Boy. That's for the oldies. It is though, isn't it? The Waltons. Good night, Jan Boy. This Isaac stuff making me knackered, says Daryl. You just got to sit tight now. Finishes Monday or midnight tomorrow night. It finishes. TW. Morning, Frank and chat. And Daryl says, "Love you, Dad. You know that. Thank you, Daryl." Now, what had happened last night was we had trolls on, and they were vile. They were vile, and I'm not going through what they were saying. They were absolutely vile, aiming at me. But, you know, you get trolls, you know, you can deal with them, but these people were horrible. And I mean, horrible. And for me to threaten anyone the way it did says a lot what they were saying. Really, I mean that. What they were saying, Daryl, shocking. And all the people, all us, our chat group, every one of them were behind me, calling them out. It was shocking what they were saying. They don't know me, you know. They don't know me. They were just trolls, stirring up things. And I haven't had a word with Jason yet because Jason's a very busy person. I was going to just ring him this morning at 7 o'clock because he's up early and he brings his little daughter up to the stables. You know, she goes around and he gets her ready. Takes his mum today for shopping. You know, his mum is a widow. You know, he lost his dad a number of years ago, so he looks after her as well on a Saturday. He has all his other brood around, you know, sons, very nice people, the sons, university and whatever. So he has them and looks after them. So, and that's why I'll wait for a certain hour today and talk about moderators coming on the show. But I just have to thank you all last night, which was absolutely brilliant what you were doing and saying. And thank you. I was thinking about it all last night. I went to sleep for 2 hours, woke up, and that's what I was thinking about. Couldn't go back to sleep. And the vlogs is MI6. Hello, Frank. Just out in the field detecting today, and Aylwood not found much up to now. So hit the likes, he's saying. Thanks, vlogs. With his little metal detector. And Simon says, Frank, is there any truth that Stalin put a hit on Wayne? Obviously, the contract, Nikita Khrushchev, later told Wayne the contract was rescinded. I remember reading something, but didn't take it seriously. I think we have to take a look. Stalin was a funny person. He was a xenophobe. And then he started looking at his own family and he thought they were, you know, were cooing, shall we say, behind his back. and he started to eliminate them. So you can either say yes, I don't know, because he'd only started off, John Wayne. At the time Stalin was there, he wasn't like the big superstar, going into the late, the 60s, really. So I don't know. Maybe it was anyone, because he was a big cult hero anyway. Wayne, John Wayne. I don't think Wayne was any more. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me, if you know what I mean. He hated the decadence of the West. He hated that, as he said. So I really don't know. It's a good question, though. And the boss says, didn't see a show last night, but had to deal with those types ever since 1986. Long story, but the way I see it, they don't get into you unless you are telling the truth. When they crawl out, stand up. Yep. I think, yeah, you're right there, boss, because, see, the current affairs, I talk about certain things, what's happening in Ukraine, if you know what I mean. And we had some fella, and he had this name in Russian or Ukrainian, I don't know, this name. And he said, if you're there, I was talking about demonstrations, what was happening in this country. And I just said, you can go to prison. But this fella with this name, Eastern name, he said, but that if you're caught in Russia demonstrating or whatever, you're straight to jail, and And I just said, well, I disagree with you there, because the people love Mr. Putin. 90% of them approve of Putin, and they won't demonstrate anyway. There's no need to demonstrate, because everything's fine in Russia, believe it or not. And besides the sanctions, everyone's giving them sanctions and nothing's happening. Anyway, all of a sudden they had these trolls on a day or so later. Could stem from that. I don't know. But they were vile. They were really vile. And the vlogs, like back at it, Frank. See if I can find some old coins. I keep popping to check my phone for any transfer updates. What do you make of this Rodgers player? If I don't, I'm not being funny. Never. I don't know. I don't follow any other team. I only follow Liverpool, and I follow teams in Serie A. The likes of the Milan teams and Napoli especially. So I don't know any about it. The only time I ever see these players is when we play them. Twice a season. If you know what I mean. But if the foreigners, I haven't a clue. But I know Rodgers is English, But I just don't know. If he's anything like our Northern Irish manager, I don't want to know. Same name. Mattina, Franco, and everybody. Hope you're well. See, buona mattina. Bella. Yes, it was a strange concoction last night. These trolls. But anyway, I've got to tell you about films. I really have, before I fall asleep. Now, if you're going to watch a film, I don't like these modern films. I think they're awful. I really do. And I forget the name of the one with Natalie Portman in. Natalie Portman. And it was actually, some of it was filmed in Liverpool. Something about a drink, you know. Forget the title. I'm tired. I forget the title. But it's a cracker. It's just, I think it's John Krasinski. He's a good actor. And Natalie Portman. And, you know, some of it was filmed in Liverpool. I forget the name of it. That's a funny title. You know, like some sort of drink, you know, long life drink or whatever it was anyway. Forget the title. That's a very good film. But I've been watching the old films, you know, going back even to the 30s. And there's one called 12 Hours with Larry Olivier and Vivian Lee. Vivian Lee. I think Hitchcock did it. It's really good. It's really good. So I watched that little black and white thing, thought that was good, you know, so I had to go with that. There's another one which is a cracking little thing. Again, it's a Hitchcock, and you can get a colour version of it. And it's called Young and Innocent. That was done in 1939. It's really good. Because I like Hitchcock. And he was just starting off here. But it was still like, you know, mysterious. A little thriller. Young and Innocent. It's good. And you can get the colorized version on YouTube. Go for it. But the strong point, which is the main film to watch, is Secret State or State Secrets, one of those two. It's on YouTube. You'll be able to get it. Gabriel Byrne, just watch it. I think it was like a 4-part television series. So you'll be able to watch it back to back, just go right through. It's just like watching a long film. It's good. It really is good. I said, I'll have to tell the people about this. And it's only what we talk about, honestly. Sorry for yawning. Simon, I wasn't a great fan of John Wayne. I liked True Grit and The Quiet Man. Did you know he turned down the role of Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry? I don't think he would have suited the role. No, he wouldn't have suited that. He wouldn't. That was just... It's like today, you know, John Wick. Now, John Wick is John Wick. I don't think anyone else could play John Wick. So therefore, the likes of the Harry Callahan, Clint, isn't it, all day? It's just perfect fit. And I don't think Wayne would have done a franchise of them, to be honest. Oh, you're mate, Paul. Hiya, Chud. How are you, mate? Hello, Frank. Hope all's okay, mate, lad. To be honest, Chud, you're not away, are you? Every time puts a picture up of the family, they're all sitting by a table having a bevy, you know, they're always away. Great fella. He only lives around the corner from me. Honestly. Great fella. Big red. A big red. Nice man as well. Nice man. And Mara says, Frank is your best actor. Who's your best actor? Can I give you this in a moment? I've got a few great actors who, I look at with great admiration. And funny enough, Olivier's one of them. I always had an ambition to see Olivier on the stage. Never seen him though. Never seen him. Seen Branagh on the stage playing Hamlet. You know what I mean? So I've seen quite a few on the stage, but it has to be something that it's mostly Shakespeare I go and watch on the stage. I don't watch other things. It's only Shakespeare, so I've seen quite a few, but I always wanted to see. I always remember him playing. This is Olivier, by the way. I always remember reading it down in London, obviously, and he was playing King Lear. I said, "Oh, go and see that." Never got to see it. And Justin Hoffman was playing Shylock. Justin Hoffman down in London. I said, "Oh, go and see that." Just because of Justin Hoffman. And Justin Hoffman likes Shakespeare. Al Pacino, you wouldn't think he'd like Shakespeare. Loves Shakespeare, Al Pacino. And it's a shame, that I didn't get to see Olivier on stage. So, but I'll give you another thought. I'll give you him. I'll tell you who's one of the great actors, Myra. And it's Ralph Richardson. I know what you're thinking, like the likes of Robert Redford and people like that. Redford's a great actor. Redford's a great, great actor. Anthony Hopkins is a great actor. Anthony Hopkins. He's an unbelievable actor. Well, I'll think of me other three. Sir Ralph Richardson, and other old actors. I'm well gone now by now. And Laurence Olivier. So, but I'll give you another three. Modern day ones. People who you'd know. And the boss says Simon LSC. Oh, Simon. Yeah, the original True Grit was the only film I really like with John Wayne. It was remade with Jeff Bridges. Yeah. I never watched True Grit, I'm being honest. Never watched them. Never watched them. Used to watch his cowboy films. Anyway, Natalie Portman has been acting along. I remember one of the early films playing Matilda in Leon the Professional with Jean Reno. I like Jean Reno. I tell you who else I like, French actor, Gérard Depardieu. Two great French actors now. He's also a cracking actor, of course, yeah. Richard Hawkins. Hello, Richard. Long time no see. Morning, Frank. Morning, Richard. Morning. The Searchers, very good. John Wayne film says, yeah. The Searchers was one of those classics, wasn't it? And with Natalie Woods was in it, and he was searching for her, wasn't he? Searching for her. Such a tragic. I was watching something a while back. And what had happened was, it said that Natalie, her parents were Russian. Because she had this funny name, a proper name, Russian name. Anyway, this week came on, and about Natalie Wood again, because that Robert Wagner murdered her. He was abusive to her, right through. Married twice, both occasions abusive. Even her first sister was going mad. Natalie Wood's sister. She used to have murder with him. With Robert Wagner. And she said, he's killed my daughter. He killed my sister. And it's still an open case, Detectives have said that. He said, we just can't prove it. But anyway, I was watching it this week, and it said Natalie was, and gave her name and said, get onto this. From Ukrainian parents. And I thought, oh, fuck, I'm sorry to swear. I said, oh, fuck off. See what I mean? How they change, how they fucking spin things. Even in someone's, parents, the birth of the parents, Russian. And now they say, oh, Ukrainian. That angers me, things like that. CW. Ralph Fiennes, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I tell you, I seen him in, and it was a great film called The Grand Budapest Hotel. Brilliant. And he's absolutely brilliant in it. And when you're watching Bruges as well, with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. Now, Brendan Gleeson's one of my favourite actors. And when you see him in that, and Ralph Fiennes comes, and he's the boss of them two. They've been ostracised to Bruges, of all places. Bruges. I've been to Bruges. Oh, blimey. And you know what they say about the Belgians? That it's a very boring place. And they're right. Boring. But anyway, in that, in Bruges, he's brilliant. Ralph Fiennes is brilliant. And it's the first time I've ever seen him play in a comedy role. And I went, he's a great actor because he's, the diversity of his acting abilities. From all the straight roles that he plays right into a comedy. Funny. But he was acting like Jeddah, but it was so funny. Most probably you've seen it. So you like that, say? Good man. And the boss says, Leon the Professional, another film about 30. I could watch over and over. Leon, yeah. That's Jean Reno, isn't it? Great actor, him. Jean Reno. I could watch over and over. That was trying to fit into the top 10 films. I seen him with De Niro, a couple of others, and Jonathan Price. And it's films in France. I forget what it was called. There's only a short name as well. Absolutely brilliant. Sean Bean was in it as well. Sean Bean, you know. Sean Bean. This is awkward. My favourite John Wayne film in his Stagecoach. John Wayne's real name was Marion Morrison. I know. He had to change that. Hey, Marion. Gary Rigby. What a Frank. I watched Trainspotting. Better than the first film, in my opinion. I was trying to think of a film last night on the show. Was it last night or the night before? I don't know. But anyway, and we were trying to I was mentioning about Gabriel Byrne, and when he played the devil, and it's on YouTube. The End of Days. Big Arnie's in it. But Gabriel Byrne just steals the show. Great film. You get it on YouTube. End of Days. Now, some of the I highly recommend actually is the science fiction ones. And I've mentioned this one before. It's called Extraterrestrial. It's a smashing film. It was a low budget film, but you want to see what the Vicious Brothers, they made it. They call the Vicious Brothers, and they cram everything, like all the sci-fi, into this particular film, and it's really good. There was only one actor who I knew, and that was Gil Bellows. He's the only actor I knew, isn't it? But it's really good. It's good acting as well. So that's Extraterrestrial. And the other one on YouTube is called, the original thing was Arrival. That was the not the Jeremy Renner or the Amy Adams one, Arrival. But this was, I think they changed the name then. On YouTube, this particular film, which was Arrival, so they changed it to They Are Here, something like that. Or They've Arrived, something like that. But They Are Here, and Martin Sheen's in it, plays the lead. But it's really good. It's really good. You get us on YouTube. And I'm wondering if, I pay a premium to that YouTube, for no advertisements and whatever. And I'm wondering if that just comes across if you pay a premium, these films. I'll tell you what's come straight onto it as well, and that's how bad it is, from it. It's only weighing out a month or two. Is the last of the franchise with Denzel Washington, The Equalizer, right onto YouTube. Denzel. Train Spotting 2, eh? See what they're making? They're making a third one of. I forget. It'll come to me. I'll let you know in a moment. I can tell you the stars in it, but they made 1 and 2 years ago. They were like cowboys. Tell you who's the stars. Even in the first one, but the 3 stars, there's only 3 left, and that's Emilio Estevez, Lou Diamond Phillips, and what's his face? Forget his name. Anyway, so what's it fucking called? So I am tired. Simon Hoffman was great at that sort. I'll have to put my glasses on. Hoffman was great at taking challenging roles. The marathon man, Kramer versus Kramer. But my favourite is Raymond and Rayman with Tom Cruise, a truly fantastic actor. And he is a perfectionist. Hoffman. I tell you, I seen it. I've got it on, the way you save films. It's not on YouTube. And it was a cracking little story with Emma Thompson. And it's called Last Chance Harvey. Last Chance Harvey. Cracking little film. You'll enjoy it. And it's about a fella, he plays the piano, for jingles. Why did I do that? But he plays the He plays the piano, for jingles in New York. That's his job. And anyway, his daughter's getting married. He's divorced from his wife, the daughter's mother. And they get married in London, and he flies over from New York to London. It's good. It's good. Emma Thompson's brilliant. But you're right there about Simon, about the Rain Man. Oh, sorry, excuse me. And Bella says the Patriot, based on a story of American soldier, was to caught by the Japanese and tortured. Kiefer Sutherland wasn't in that, was he? Or am I getting mixed up? Alec Guinness is another favourite of mine. Alec Guinness. From comedy to serious film, straight-laced films. That's how good he was. I don't know that Bella. Robert Carlyle wasn't in it, was he? Kiefer Sutherland and Robert, I don't know. Gary In Bruges, brilliant film. Lots of funny bits in it too. Yes, loads. That dwarf was good, wasn't he? The dwarf. Colin Farrell can't get over this dwarf because they were making a film where he was looking at people making a film and this dwarf's in it. Brilliant. Has anybody seen the Grand Hotel, the Grand Budapest Hotel that Rob finds? There's loads of stars in it. The likes of Adrian Brody, another fine actor. Adrian Brody, Oscar winner for The Pianist. And The Boss in Bruges. Is that with Brenda? Yes. Yes, the pair of them. That film, yeah, that film was Ronan. Cracking film, that say, wasn't it? Really good. De Niro. What's a controversy over him, you know? What's happening there? I don't know what's wrong with Paul Giamatti. He has a funny walk, didn't he? Do you ever remember that? There used to be some dope, you know, taking him off. Get off your horse and drink your milk. And everyone was saying it. Get off your horse and drink your milk. Thanks to Ronan, brilliant film. And Bella says John Wayne played in the film The Searchers was considered John Wayne's masterpiece. Yeah. Yeah. But it was a great film, but it was full of propaganda, you know, about the indigenous American. Frank, you're looking very salubrious. Do you reckon? Frank Snackers. Thank you for that. I'll take that as a compliment. Richard says, I watched the Jolson story and Jolson sings again yesterday. Jolson, what was his name? He played him. Farley Granger, I think, played him. Farley Granger. You only have to, you know, do you know if you're talking about someone, you're saying, well, who do you think this is? Or, you've only got to say one word. Mammy. That's all you got. Everyone will tell, yeah, tell Jolson. And it's like a film from music from a film. You've only got to play two notes. That's it. So that's Mammy. And, you know, for two films or one character on a film. And Al Jolson went to St. Francis Xavier's School, Catholic school, here in Liverpool, before he sailed over as a child, you know, young lad, to America. And he was Jewish. He was a Russian Jew with his parents, but there was a 6-month waiting list, so he stayed here and he learnt his language here in the school. Couldn't speak a word of English, obviously. He was only a kid coming over to England Inge Lund. And the boss says, if you are FC, like myself, a post-World War II kid, nearly all the matinee cinema was full of the Cowboys versus it, yes. On a Sunday afternoon TV, the seven, yes. John Wayne caught as good guys, yes. Yeah. That's why they made a lot of Cowboys and Indians. But unfortunately, you know, when you look today, you can see the propaganda that was in it. We're good. They're bad. You know, war paint. And they always go after wagon trains. That's why they made Custer out to be a great general or whatever, colonel. And he was all right invading, you know, the villages that they were in, that they were moving, the indigenous, with just the women and children there. Because the Braves were out, being chased around by the cavalry. And they used to go into those villages. And that's why they left him at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. They said, leave him till last. And they killed all the cavalry. And he was the last man. General Custer. So sad to lose Gene Hackman. He was very underrated, but played in some cracking film. French Connections, Mississippi Burning with Willem Dafoe, and The Unforgiven. Unforgiven was a great. He's been in some crackers. I liked Hackman. He's on. You can get him on YouTube, called Under Suspicion, with Morgan Freeman and Monica Bellucci. Gene Hackman, brilliant, great actor, and brilliant in it as well. And he's in a film with Danny DeVito. He's in a film with Danny DeVito where he owns this boat, you know, like a motorboat or whatever, sailing boat. And Danny DeVito's it's a cracking film. But he's a thief as well. He's a thief. And what a film it is. Sam Rockwell's in it as well. Sam Rockwell's a great actor. I like Sam. But the film, I forget what it's called. But it's a smasher. Danny DeVito, Gene Hackman, Sam Rockwell, if you can get, you know, put them up, what films did they appear in, it'll come up. Because I think they only ever made one film each. I'll tell you another film he was brilliant in. And Danny DeVito was in this one as well. And John Travolta. And it was called Get Shorty. Hackman is brilliant. And that shows you the diversity of him, where he can play comedy. It's not supposed to be comedy, but it is comedy. Get Shorty. Cracking film. Really good film. Yeah, great actor was Gene Hackman. The Boss Again, to the Simon. Yes, Gene Hackman, very good in a lot of films. Also opposite Denzel Washington in The Nuke Summer. Yes, forgot the name. Yeah. Yeah, he's good in that. But you get these lunatics with, in these nuclear subs, they're all claustrophobic, and they could just go. I'll tell you what you want to watch, and I've mentioned this on numerous occasions, and I don't think anyone's watched it yet. And it's called The Day After, made in 1983. And it's about the Cold War. Excuse me. It's about the Cold War. It's about the Cold War. Cold War. And what it boils down to is strikes. Jason Robards is in it. And it was made in 1983. Yeah, it was frightening. And why it was frightening, you could see the power of a nuclear attack in 1983. It's 1,000 times worse now. And you get those idiotic war hawks in America who would love a war with Russia. But Russia, they would just go, oh, that's enough of you. Bink. That's enough of you. Because you get in the West now, our leaders who I mentioned last night are so pathetic. And Brussels are worse still. Those silly people who haven't a clue and don't listen to what the Russians are saying. And they're saying, yeah, we're going to put boots on the ground and Ukraine, we're going to make this a buffer zone and all this. Russia will not allow any of it. The thick, absolutely thick people who haven't a clue. You've only got to look at Macron. The French people want him out. You've only got to look at Starmer. The British people want him out. I didn't think anyone could be worse than that, in opinion polls or whatever, than Liz Truss. Jesus, he's gone well below her. He's the worst of the worst in the history of the Premiership. I'm not talking about football. Prime Ministers, that is. Premiers. And the other leaders, I'm very disappointed in Giorgia Meloni because I think she's being forced into what the EU are saying because they'd penalise Italy. Put sanctions on, wouldn't give them the money. It's just like what they did with Hungary and what they're doing with Hungary. And Slovakia, they won't give them the money that they're owed off the EU. And there's Ukraine bombing a pipeline that serves for the energy of the Hungarian people. And they've done it 3 times. And they're a non-member of the EU, Ukraine. They're not a NATO country yet. There's Hungary, NATO country, and it belongs to the EU. And because they won't help Ukraine in any way, shape or form, they penalised them. So anyway, what had happened was they vetoed a payment. Well, it wasn't a payment, it was taking money. There's frozen assets there worth 300 billion of Russian frozen assets, and they've been dipping into it. And Fico, Slovakia, and Orban of Hungary said, when this is over, and it will be over, we'll have to pay that back. Stop taking the money. So anyway, I was about to give it to Ukraine for what? For him to squander and keep, keep that. Put that in my bank account. This is what it's all about. And it's corrupt. It's corrupt. The EU's corrupt. You can tell that because it's still a washing machine. Ukraine, so going back to them, there's your whack, there's your whack, there's yours. Are you satisfied with that? You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. So they vetoed the payment. They vetoed, well, it was a payment to Ukraine, but they vetoed them taking the money out of the frozen assets. But they went along and did it anyway. You're not supposed to do that. So they're suing the EU, Hungary. They're trying to get rid of Orban. They're trying to get rid of Vucic, even Serbia. They're trying to get rid of Fico. And I forget the fella's name in Georgia. They're trying to get rid of him. And this is democracy at its lowest ebb. It's not democratic at all to get rid of leaders who are leading their country, and because they don't want to fucking know about Ukraine. You've only got to ask the poor Romanians. When 90% of them wanted either Georgescu in or Simeone, and they couldn't have them. They put in a puppet who's all along with this, let's fight the Russians and supporting Ukraine and Zelensky. Now, don't forget, Ukraine's the most corrupt country. And this is the way it is. I don't know. Sorry to go off on a tangent. So one of the films is available on YouTube. Brilliant. Tunes of Glory. Absolutely brilliant, says Richard. Yes, it's on YouTube. You got all the British stalwarts and fantastic acting. Good choice there, Richard. Yep. Yeah, not a good choice, great choice. Yeah, absolutely. This is a fantastic film. And Richard says, I have Ronin on DVD. I used to collect films. I used to. Excuse me. All of a sudden it hits me. The tiredness just descends. I wish I would have descended at 4 o'clock the bloody morning. Frank, is that the old Indiana Jones behind you? No, it's John Wayne, Callum. It's not the other fellow, what's his name? Harrison Ford. I don't understand this, why this is like this. Honestly. And she says the Grand Hotel Budapest, absolutely brilliant. Isn't it just? That little Indian is fantastic, isn't it? For Fiennes. Oh, okay. Love Fiennes. Richard says Larry Parks. I mentioned him though, didn't I, playing Al Jolson? I'll walk a million miles. And Richard says, everything seems lovely when you're far from home. But everything seems lovely when you're on holiday. I just wish I could have gone away this year. But unfortunately, I'm going next year, and I've already booked it for, it's for my granddaughter, really. We're going to a place called Lido Dieslo, so we can get to Verona and Venezia. She wants to see Juliet's balcony. Could have brought us down Bowl Street and showed her the original rather than the one that Il Duce had built in 1934. Simon. John Wayne's strange walk came about from a combination of his own deliberate style and a physical injury from playing football at USC. He also started wearing a wig from the midnight. Yeah. I'll tell you what, a cracking film. It was Northwest Frontier, was it? Where the English actor Stuart Granger, and he has you see him having a fight on his head. You know, his hat comes off and you see his baldy head. They just kept it in. It's oh fuck that, we're not doing this again. John Wayne. And he was great with it. Shows you the diversity as well of Lee Marvin, not Dean Martin. Lee Marvin. Not Dean Martin. Lee Marvin. And what was it called? Blimey, it was there, it's gone. Shows you that I'm losing it, you know. Donovan's Reef. Even Wayne was comedy. And Lee Marvin, fantastic. It was on the similar lines, really, of, The Quiet Man. That was a great film at Wayne. The Quiet Man. Maureen O'Hara. Maureen. He was a great horseman, though, wasn't he? When you see him on the horse, you know, well, any horse, and he's riding, galloping, brilliant, and he's turning around. Okay, now. I was filming for this production company. It was about the gunpowder plot. And they brought this fucking big animal down, big horse. And he said, we want you to, and I'm in a suit. And I said, oh, fuck off, I'm not getting on that. I've never been on a horse in my life. And he said, no, it's okay, you know, but it was jerking its head like that. I had hold of its rein. I said, I'm not getting on that. That could be fucking jerking everywhere and me going over the top. I said, I'm suffering from a broken neck. A broken neck is always there. He said, no, we'll change it into this. I said, no, I'm not going to ride it. I said, I'm fucking going home. I said, and they were, oh, no, you can't go home. So me and this aristocrat. So we're walking down this lane and with the horses. And the aristocrats are all dressed up, you know, like fucking John Payne. But he was a lovely fella, the aristocrat, talking about the gunpowder plot. And we were walking down the lane. He had to compromise, you see. The aristocrat said, you know, if he's never ridden a horse, you can't expect him to just jump on a horse and talk to me. And me talk to him in conversation. So, you know, he decided, oh, yeah, that'll be all right. Camera was down there, camera over there and over there. And he's filming us. And it turns out okay, actually. walking the horses. Because what I was talking about was the one of the great horsemen, Everard Digby. He was a master horseman, and that's how he got away from. That's how he got away from the government officials who were out to capture him or kill him because he was a plotter, and he got away from them, master horseman. But that's the way it was, you know. And getting on that big thing it was, big horse. FC, what about the great actress Shirley MacLaine? Yeah, Deborah Winger. Yeah, and you mentioned Natalie Portman. I also like Dame Judy, best actress in the world. Meryl Streep's unbelievable. Meryl the Streep is beautiful, great actress. But Dame Judy is the best out of the lot of them. She's the only one to get an Oscar for about 20 minutes work. I don't think it was even 12, like 15 minutes or so. She got an Oscar for it. Yeah, Deborah Winger's good. Meryl Streep, streets ahead, the rest of them, unfortunately. And Dame Judy. I loved Dame Maggie as well. All great actresses. There's one in, what's her name? I always forget her name. And she's in that film I told you to watch with Dustin Hoffman and Emma Thompson. And she's a dame as well in the film. She's not playing the dame, but she's one of the dames in this film. She plays the mother of Emma Thompson's character. Last Chance Harvey. It's a great film. If you like a gentle film, and that's what it is, it's a gentle film. So he carries on by saying, Natalie Portman, I also like Judi Dench in films, a couple of TV series too, and was good as M in Skyfall. Well, she was in loads of them. She was with Roger the Lodge. No, she wasn't. She was with Pierce Brosnan as M. Was Dame Judy. I used to like it in a comedy series called Her and Jeffrey Palmer. I used to love it. And my mates used to, it's all middle class there. Ever decreasing? No, it wasn't. As time goes by, fucking brilliant. Funny. And I mentioned Ever Decreasing Circles. I loved that as well. And my mates used to say, they loved it, fucking on the buses and all that. Totally different from me. No wonder someone said, they see me on the telly. I think they were in the pub, and I was on the telly. I was in a news item. They were asking me. I'll tell you what it was over. It was over the Strawberry Fields gates, and we were selling them off to some American for this big driveway, big Beatle fan. So they had me on talking about it. Did you know anything about fucking right? And they went like, who the fuck does he think he is? Someone showed me, fucking your mates were calling you for everything. Oh. Right, Richard says, well, although his parents were Jewish, he said Al himself was was an out and out Catholic and had an audience with the Pope. And I say that as an Irish Protestant who has had an audience with the Pope. Says Richard Hawkins. Can I show you something? She came up to visit me about 6 weeks ago now. Lovely lady and her husband. And they go over to India, the both of them, and they look after the poor over there. This lady grew up with it. And when I was bad, she brought me them rosary beads. She said, they are there for you, Franco. And I went, she always calls me Franco. And she said, they're for you, Franco. So I said, thank you, Annie. Thank you so much. And she said, they're no ordinary rosary beads, you know. I said, oh, what are they? And she said, they've been blessed by Pope Francis II. So they've been blessed by the Pope. That's when I was bad, you know, because I was bad and still am. Yeah, Pacino. Al Pacino. Al's great. Yeah, he is Catholic. All those Italians over in I've got relatives there in New York. They all belong to the mafia. What? And Simon to the boss. I'd probably be a bit controversial. Meryl Streep, Sophia. Susan Sarandon and Helen Bonham. Every one of them you've mentioned, sublime. Helena Bonham Carter is, she's a bit of an eccentric, you know, as you know, she's like a goth, if you like, but she's a fantastic actress. I seen a cracking film with Meryl Streep in. And it's called, forget the bloody name of it. But you'll know what I mean. And Kevin Bacon's in it. Kevin Bacon and egg, sausage and beans. He's in it. And he's a baddie in it. Kevin the Bacon, a baddie. And she goes and takes her son on the rapids, you know, she's one of those rowers, Meryl Streep. Really good. It's really good. Bacon was excellent in it, but Meryl Streep's great. The boss. You just reminded me, Frank, talking about Westerns, Custer and Hoffman, the great film, another now top 40, Little Big Man. And having seen Soldier Blue, I think that was one of the most controversial ones at the time, 1970, with Robert Strauss, one of the Strausses anyway. And Simon to the bar. Maggie Smith was an iconic, that must be. Actress so versatile, just like Julie Walters. The Woman in the Van by Alan Bennett and Walters in Educate. Truly, truly brilliant. Yes. And Myra said, Frank, have you seen the Great Gatsby? Yeah, fantastic. Do you know what, Myra? Do you know my little granddaughter? She went down to see Liverpool play in the Charity Shield the other week, beginning of the season. And she loves musicals. She's 13 and she plays the piano but loves musicals. And she went to see The Great Gatsby while she was in London. How about that? But yeah, great film. I like the style then. Someone said to me, what era would you like to have lived? I said the 20s or the 30s with money. That's not the poverty, but with money because of the cars, the vintage, the lines, the Art Deco, the style. Fantastic. Ambidextrous. Ah, yeah. Good morning to Frank and chatters in the chat. Sun is out and I hope that continues tomorrow for the match. As long as it's dry, Ambi. If you're not going, you're going to watch me on the watch along. I'll try and not to swear. Oh, don't say that. Fucking hell. I'd take Boris back. Your Starmer's so bad. Boris. Look. You know the Yanks, we have to bow down to them. We have to do everything. And when the negotiations in Istanbul was being signed in 2022, and Boris Johnson, they got in the ear of him, Biden, and said, you better get over there, fucking tell him to stop. Don't sign it. To Zelensky. So anyway, he went over and he scuppered it. The deal, the negotiation, the contract, everything, the peace deal. Now, to me, Boris Johnson, and this is just like going by what the Ukrainians have said, what they've actually said, come out and said. So he's got the blood of 1.7 million Ukrainians on his hands because he stopped it and he doesn't give a fuck. Neither do the Americans. Remember that Lindsey Graham to the last Ukrainian, and he meant it. So Boris Johnson, to me, fucking buffoon. Do you know Blair was great, He was great. But and the Yanks ruined them because what we had to do, we had to back them for the big lie where 1 million people died needlessly. And that was the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq in 2003, March 2003. The big lie. But he went along with it. And his legacy was gone. Finito. Gone. Blair. The Tories ruined this country. And he came in 97 and picked everything up. And in 2003, fucking ruined everything. He took no notice of 2 million people taken to the streets about the war. We knew that it was bogus. We knew that there was no weapons of mass destruction. We knew that it was based on lies. You had Colin Powell like that with a little tube. And this anthrax could, fuck off. And that was in the UN. America owned the UN. Do you know that America have just like now vetoed, get onto this, Palestinian spokespeople from going to the UN next week to discuss Gaza. They've just America is the UN. They hold the sway over 90% of people. So if they veto it, nothing can be done. And they vetoed these Palestinian spokespeople from attending. Think about that for a second. The Americans vetoed it. Shocking. The boss, Simon. To Simon. Good actress. I took a dislike to Streep. Just a feeling. Agree about Susan Sarandon and Ellen Bonham Carter. The Theory of Flight. Fantastic story. The Theory of Flight. No, it's whatever, as you say, I took a dislike to Streep. Just a feeling. Meryl Streep's a lovely person, believe me. I've seen it in interviews and I've heard no one give her a bad name. She encourages the films that she's in. She encourages like the people who she's working with. Do you know one of the best people to work with? And actors have told me this. You've worked with him. And he's so good to all the crew. He's a gentleman to all the crew. And that includes the people who clean up after them. And that's Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is very good to them, to anyone. And one of the actors who told me that was Stephen Graham. He said he's great. Tell you who else is a nice fella. Sam Neill, Jurassic Park fame. Yeah, says the boss. Julie Walters in films and some of those sketches of it. Oh, so funny. This is the album. Acorn Antiques, wasn't it called? Funny that. Such a shame that Victoria Wood died. What a talent she was. Richard Hawkins, says the boss. I would take Boris back. I would take him back behind the house and educate him. No Tories for me. No Tories for Scousers, I'm afraid. There's only been one good Scouser, Tory for Scousers, and that was Michael Heseltine. When Thatcher demoted him because she was selling off Lakeland, the helicopters, to the Americans, as she sold everything off to the Americans. Thatcher. Johan. Good morning, Frank, and legends in the chat. Hope everyone as well. Frank, you mentioned Idiocracy. Oh, fantastic. I believe certain parts of the world have already surpassed that level of stupid. Yeah. You know, someone just mentioned there about, I mentioned it, about Boris going over, and he has 1.7 million victims, blood on his hand. Young Ukrainians being killed because of him going over, saying no, taking notice of America to stop the peace deal. They would have been alive now with the families. Everyone would have been no war, but the Americans wanted war. As you know, now they've got the whole of Europe saying, yeah, we'll have a war. Because they're making money. Every fucking one of them. Johan. But that Idiocracy. Funny film. Cryogenics. And wakes up 500 years later or so. This is look, I support the Ukrainian. Well, there you go. But show one black face from the refugees in Belfast. There is no. Well, it's whoever you support. I support the Russians. Always have done. Can I ask you a question? No, I won't ask you it because you'll Google it. Richard. I asked them a question. And if they say no, who is it? I just say, well, you know nothing about what's going on. See, when you say you support the Ukrainian people, do you support the people in Donbass and Lugansk and those places? They're all Ukrainians. You support them. The fucking people that were being bombed systematically by the Kiev regime after the 2014 coup d'etat. When the fucking Azov set fire to people, 40-odd people, burnt them alive. Do you support them? Well, if you support them, well, that's fine. Do you support the Ukrainians? They're all Ukrainians who are being systematically murdered for 8 years. That's why Putin went in. Said this has to stop. Jailing priests from the Orthodox Church and the parishioners from the Russian Orthodox, desecrating their churches, stopping the Russian language, stopping the Russian culture. What's fucking Ukraine ever fucking done? But if they fucking done, they've got no Tchaikovsky, Leo Tolstoy, Chekhov. Okay, now. I'm sorry. I don't support them one fucking iota. The murderous pricks. The fucking lot of them. what they do to fucking people. But you don't hear about that, do you, in the British press or the Western press? Executing fucking ordinary people. I've seen it all. Footage. Ambidextrous. One world government incoming. If they don't comply, they are out. It's like Trump, isn't it? You know, when he first came in, he said, I've got a name here, the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. Canada's going to become part of, well, it's going to be the 51st state. We're going to annex Greenland. It's going to be it's going to be ours. We're taking over the Panama Canal. This is fucking Trump. This idiot. We've got to work with the Russians. They're fucking saying, Putin's a great man, he said. And listen, I'm going to give them sanctions because he's listening to fucking idiots. The likes of Lindsey Graham, a war hawk, and Kellogg, a disastrous general when he was active. Complete and utter Russophobe. They all support Gaza, all support Netanyahu. These fucking pricks. I was only talking about films. Shouldn't have said nothing, Richard. Fucking supporting Ukraine. Fucking hell. Simon. Boss to the boss. Acorn Antiques, Mrs. Overall, brilliant. Sometimes I think that being widowed is God's way of telling you to come off the pill. Walters and Wood were great, just like Fry. There you go. Fry and Lowry. Mate of mine met Stephen Fry, and I said, what was he like? Stephen Fry said, what a gentleman. He said, he's incredible. I like things like that. To the boss. Boss, I don't like Boris, but as a socialist stammer, or stammer as he calls him, should be a shit. Yeah, of course. Totally agree. Myla. T-O-1. Yo. Hi, Myla. And Richard says, if you have any emotion in you, Frank, I will both tell you to go and watch Random Off. Seen it? Seen it? Ronald Coleman. Seen it? It's brilliant. Ronald Coleman. And was it Greer Garson? Yeah, Greer Garson. Or Random Harvest. Great old film. And Ronald Coleman wanted to come over to England at the outbreak of war in 1939. I think he did come over. Then he said, no, you don't. No, he was coming over. He said, no, it's okay, just make it, because he was old. David Niven came over, he rejoined his old regiment and was nearly killed on D-Day landings. It was David Niven. People are fucking Cary Grant was a coward. I don't want to go over. And he got the American citizenship out so that they wouldn't send for him. Did you know that? Then America joined the war 2 years later. As again, has America ever won a war? Have they ever won a war? No. And this MAGA, make America great again. Well, I put on this morning, it was about 6 o'clock this was saying, oh, fuck off, them tweets. And I said, well, when has America been great? Well, have they been great? And they're saying, well, make America great again. And when I said about, have you ever won a war? I'm going back ages ago. They said, yeah. The American War of Independence over you bums. I said, no. I said, you never won it. I said, it was more like a civil war. I said, the French won it 4 years. Not you lot. The thick people is our American brothers and sisters. Victoria Woods, wow, Susan. She was great. Pat and Margaret with Julie Walters, Dinner Ladies, and their stand-up shows, truly magnificent. And Richard says, Frank, you're looking great on a 40-inch. I don't know what you're doing, buddy, but you look magic. Oh, I wish I was. I wish there was some. I can't sleep. Can't walk. Dead tired. Arlen's and Wolf. But look at the title. And it's not talking about an iceberg either. Going worse. Really going worse. And Simon, what time is it? I loved one of Victoria's famous quotes, life is not fair, is it? Some of us drink champagne in the fast lane and some of us eat our sandwiches by the loose chippings on the A597. So you've got to, when you look at words, you've got to be careful what not careful, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but you look at words and what she says there, some of us, not some people, but us. So she drinks the champagne because she can afford the champagne. And some of us eat our sandwiches by the loose chippings on. Now, she would have said some drink champagne in the fast lane. So she drinks the champagne. Meryl Streep, Sophie's Choice, great film. Was that with Vanessa Redgrave? As John Wayne, what? CAU. As John Wayne, behind you, caught a cold. I don't know what happens, you know. Yeah, look. See if I don't want to sit like this, you see. I don't know. I don't know what it is that makes me love you so. I don't know what it is. Is that better? I can't hide from all this. Let's see. That's gone worse. See. As I said, he was a great horseman. He was a fantastic horseman, was the other fella, Wayne. But all those fellas who played, Ben Johnson, he was in a few films with a fella named Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was a good actor, and Warren Oates, and they were in one of the best westerns I've ever seen. I think it was the best, if you call it a western, and it was called The Wild Bunch. And the best scene in any film that I ever watched was in The Wild Bunch. And you see William Holden just gets up when he goes. And you see Ernest Borgnine just sitting on the grounds, you know, leaning against the building. And he just looks at him. And he goes, let's go. Borgnine stands up. And you see the other two, Warren Oates and Ben Johnson. And like a drum roll. And you just see the four of them walking down the street with the guns, going to the death to rescue the little Mexican mate, Angel. Best scene ever. Walking down. So I like films. Certain films. You don't get them today, unfortunately. With all this wokeness. Don't like woke at all. Most probably that's a bit controversial, but I just don't. And on that, I'm going to end because I was just dropping that. I'm sorry I've got to go. I'm really tired. I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow. A watch along. The Reds playing the Arsenal, the Gunners, the Gooners. See how we fare against them. I don't like our defence. I certainly don't like our defence. Too many stupid goals. We've given advantages away. 2-0 up against Bournemouth. 2-0 up against Newcastle. And we nearly threw it away. And as I said on my 2 pods, he's very lucky, Slot. Very lucky that those lads pulled him out of the fire. We need this Guy fella. We really need him I'm glad that we've got Leone. I'm glad he's a big giant, that lad. And he's good, by the way. But we've got to blood him in first. Give him minutes in a game instead of just throwing him right there. Canate, I don't know what's happened to him. Make a mistake after mistake. That makes the defence vulnerable. Would you play Joe Gomez next to Virgil tomorrow, or would you still stick with Canate? I'll be having a pre-match. I don't know, I really don't. I don't know what's the best for the best. And to me, Wirtz hasn't done anything, for all the hype that has been surrounding the lad. He's done nothing for me. See, it's a different league from the Bundesliga. And that's what I tried to tell, like Slot. I like small squatch. I like small squatch. Well, got news for you, Annie. We need a bigger squad. Like small squatch. And that's a damning statement to me for them small squad. And our squad is more depleted than last season. Do you know that? If we don't get Isak and this Guy fella, it's going to be difficult for us. I'm not saying about tomorrow, by the way. I'm talking for the rest of the season. We still need an out-and-out striker. People say, well, we've got Ekatike there. Yeah, we have. But we still need an out-and-out striker. Ekatike is great. But how long can he hold up his form? How long? And I'm going to get hold of Jason to make people moderators, because that didn't half upset me last night. It really did. Being called names. If I would have had that fella, I would have fucking done him in. If he'd have been next to me, said that. But they're cowards. They don't say it to your face. And they go under their pseudonyms, don't they? See, I don't mind getting called for anything. I really don't. But not vile, evil. I'm sorry there, people. I'll have to go. I'm so tired. Mukalazi Amani. I've got an Amani coat. You never made it, did you? Lukazi. Amani. Great. Chariots of Fire, good acting. Great story. Iconic music. Brilliant. Brilliant. Bengalis, the music. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Simon. Keanu Reeves is known for his significant acts of generosity, including privately funding children's hospitals and looking after set crews from bonuses to luxurious Xmas. Yes, I know all about him. Keanu, John Wick. Have you seen his girlfriend? Or has he married her? You wouldn't think. I don't like saying things about, women or anything, but, you'd expect Keanu, to have his pick of ladies. I always remember Sandra Bullock saying, I loved him. I fell in love with him when he was in, I think it was Speed or something else. But you can see the chemistry in them. They made a film together called The Lake House. Fantastic. Highly recommended. Christopher Plummer's in it. Highly recommended. The Lake House. Very clever film as well. And you could see the chemistry. It's really good. The Lake House. And see how that magic there? I've got a magic hand, look. What's the Wayne here? What? But anyway, crack it up. Keanu Reeves. What a gentleman. What a gentleman. But I think he's a bit of an eccentric as well, I know his generosity is paramount. It really is. But his wife, fucking hell, or his girlfriends, you go, shock me. I'm not talking about the lady, you know what I mean? As I said, his marriage, though, he said he was going to be married for the rest of his life when his wife that got killed, died. I don't know whether she was killed or she died. I know she's dead, but she died, ordinary, I don't know. Forget. And it killed him inside. Hello to your neighbour Georgia. Nothing to do with films, sorry. Great show again. Off to early lunch, says the boss. I am the boss man. Yeah. Ukraine changed Kiev to Kyiv. I know. That's their accomplishment. And you know what I can't get over? The people I follow. Because it is Kiev. And even in supermarkets, you're saying, you fucking see it on the thing, Kiev. Fucking ridiculous. And people who we follow, they say Kiev. I went to Judge Napolitano. And I, commented. I said, Judge, it's not Kiev. It's Kiev. And I said, I spelt it like Key hyphenate Ev, E-Ev, Kiev, not Kyiv. They made that up. So you're going against the Russian language, which they wanted when they just stopped all Russian culture. But they fucking did that before the SMO, if anyone wants to know. And then fucking Ukraine, have you heard about them? But they come over, demands and everything. See what they were doing in France? They were shown into this place, like a little family. And they said, I don't want this. They said, well, this is what we're offering you. No, don't want it. And they were 3 days looking for a place for it. Did you get one? No. It wasn't too grand, if you know what I mean. Too grand. Grandiose for it. But it's like that here. When a lady opens her door to them, widow, and she said, hey, children have that bedroom, you have that. And she said, well, what's that? And she went into like the ladies' bedroom. She said, no, I want this. This is better for me. And the son came down to see her. And he's seen that his mother was upset. You know, I'm talking about a week because he let them like settle in. She never said a word on the phone or anything. And he's seen that she was upset. And he said, what's wrong? So we went up because he left something. And normally he just walked into his mother's bedroom. And he said, and he went back down. He said, where's your fucking stuff? And she had to tell him. Fucking lashed him out, didn't he? Taking over the house. But you're getting loads of stories like that. Dr. Benjamin. Look at his profile. And there's another actor. Will A. Just wanted to mention the actor you was thinking of a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I mentioned, but you wasn't on. I mentioned it actually. Victor Madden. Sorry, but didn't realise it was politics as well. Oh, every time football, they go off on tangents. They just say things. That's what we're all about. But yeah, Victor Madden. And he's in a film. You get him on YouTube. Get him on YouTube. He's in film, especially about what's it called? Somebody watched them the other day. Was it? I'll tell you what it's called. The sea shall not have them. The sea shall not have them. True story. True story. It's about playing the RAF. They're in charge of these like boats that go and rescue, any RAF fellas who have, been shot down. They go into the English Channel. The sea shall not have them. Take Bogarts in. Michael Redgrave. Victor Madden. All the stalwart actors, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The sea shall not have them, and you get it on YouTube. Now I recall why I didn't like Streep. It was because of Kramer. At the time when I was fighting an ex for custody, don't expect anyone to get it. Was young, unable to be objective about the actors. Well, Kramer versus Kramer was one of the great films, wasn't it? Very emotional stuff. Ambidextrous. Frank, you need frequency healing. It's amazing how well it works. I have and use tuning for go away. I've got the shirt. there's a fella named Stepan, and he's French, but he lives in just Barcelona with his Italian partner, Daniela, and he came up to see me, and he was thanking me for my generosity. Anyway, he came up again, and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "What do you mean, help me?" And he mentioned about this like machine, ambidextrous. And he said, "Listen, because down my left-hand side, especially my leg, it's shocking. And I've been waiting for physio for over 2 years. I'm not a priority, as they say, and I am a priority. They'd even tell you you are a priority, but unfortunately, the way the political system's gone, I'm no longer a priority, if you know what I mean." And he said, "I'll help you." And he sent me over a machine. He said, "This will help you," because it built his leg up, this thing, because he had a bad accident. He has all this muscle thing and wasting, just like what I've got through me broken neck. He said, "And it'll also relieve the pain in your left elbow." I went, "Oh." I said, "Well, so, it's just like you, ambidextrous. Arthritis. Oh, fucking hell, that's shocking, that. I hate anyone being ill, because I think about it. I really do, what we bloody well go through. And she says, "Great show, Frank. Thank you. Look forward to watch you along tomorrow. Hopefully, we pull our fingers and put in a great performance with a win." Yes, that's all we want, isn't it? A little win for the Reds. It's going to be hard, though. It's going to be very hard. I've done me 2 hours. No, I haven't. 1.5 hours. That's all I do, isn't it, on a Saturday? And poor Frank's falling asleep. They say, I said, I've got to get that done. I've got to get it done. So it's just like that. Ordinary. See it going down, look. It's terrible. Falling to bits. Poor Frank. Listen, I've just got to thank Gap Painting Services for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle shows. Fully time served, fully insured. If you're an elderly person, if you work for the NHS, you get special discount. These people are first class. They really are. Don't struggle decorating, especially the outside. Get them in. Let them do the work. They're very, very reasonable, even if you're not in the categories of NHS and elderly. Get them in. They're very reasonable. Just get a price off them. Just get a price. That's Gap Painting Services. Forgot to mention them at the beginning. It's the excitement of John Wayne behind me. Oh, I done that, didn't I? Did I? Oh, it's gone now. Oh, it's gone. Just leave it with that. I don't know what that did. As ambidextrous said, she got a cold. She got a cold. Listen there, people. Thank you so much for keeping me company this morning. I've got to thank Jason, for setting everything up and putting Big John there behind me to look after me, to get me back and protect me back, that is. And you, thank you. Great comments. We digressed on a few things, went out on tangents, went all over the place as usual. But I'm just saying thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll see you all, well, not all, but hopefully see you tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, Monday, got the history show. The history show. So join me tomorrow if you watch along. I'll be doing it starting from 3:15. 3:15 for the pre-match, then the match, then afterwards the post-match, and we can either be cock-a-hoop or disappointed. Let's hope that we're cock-a-hoop. With 9 points from 3 games. Anfield. And if you go in the game, I envy you. Thank you so much. Ci vediamo. A domani, as they say, the Italians. Ciao. Pomeriggio. Domani.